Hey, today we're going to show you how putting a Corvette engine in a circle track racer puts the stock back in stock car racing.
Today on Horsepower TV, it's the stock car of the future, and we'll go inside an ASA Racer's fuel-injected small block engine and take you through its high-tech undercarriage before we put it on the chassis dyno for the ultimate power test. We'll also take you to one of the nation's top Winston Cup tracks for a white-knuckle, hands-on-the-wheel driving experience. Plus a look at how cool wheels and tires can change your ride's personality. So hang on for Horsepower TV. Hi, welcome to the shop. You know, we like all kinds of competition horsepower, whether it's for the drag strip or the circle track. Well, today we thought we'd have some fun with this Vortec-powered Monte Carlo, designed especially for the ASA Racing Series.
What makes this series so unique is the use of an actual production engine, and in this case it's GM's latest small block, the LS1 Vortec. Now, by using this engine, ASA hopes to put the stock back in stock car racing and keep it affordable at the same time. Now, with the exception of a few minor modifications for racing, this is the exact same engine that powers the Corvette, Camaro, and Firebird.
Now, as we'll show you here on our display, one of those mods is the oiling system. Now, it uses a hybrid dry sump system with a side-mounted scavenge pump. Check this out. It bolts right here to the stock AC compressor mount. Oil pressure is provided by the stock crank-driven G-rotor pump. Now, to slow down the accessory drive, this race engine uses a reduced diameter hub with a cantilever damper. Finally, a stock tensioner system works with serpentine belts to keep costs down and speed up pit-side changes.
Well, speaking of changes, the Vortec V8 is a completely new design from the small block that most of you are already familiar with. Now, a lot of the design changes come about as a result of engineering requirements in the name of improved efficiency and reduced emissions. Now, ironic as it may seem, well, those same changes are what makes this engine almost race-ready right out of the box. For instance, an aluminum block was once regarded as an exotic race-only piece, but the engineers have justified the additional costs in the name of reduced weight and increased fuel economy. Now, on the bottom end, it features cross-bolted main caps to tie in this deep skirt pan rail. And around here, it also uses cast-in-place iron liners and an extra long head bolt to tie into the main bearing bulkhead for improved ring seal and reduced bore distortion.
The crank is a nodular iron piece with a trigger wheel out back here for precise ignition timing. Now, the fillets are rolled and undercut to prevent stress risers, giving you the durability of a steel crank and the affordability of a cast design. Now, it's sleeved up front here for that G-rotor oil pump we showed you earlier. By the way, it's a positive displacement pump, and well, here's an inside look at one. Oil enters through this port and is pressurized by the G-rotor assembly. It exits through this port, and the pressure is regulated to 65 psi by a spring-loaded pressure valve.
Buttoning up the bottom end is a steel dry sump pan from Moroso with a pickup here at the right rear corner. Now, that feeds the single-stage scavenge pump that we showed you earlier on the engine. From there, the oil goes through this transfer tube and on back to a remote reservoir, then back here to this fitting and through this line that's attached to the inlet side of the pressure pump. Now, under here, you're going to see a couple more fittings, and they simply supply pressurized oil to a remote filter and cooler assemblies. Oh, and here's a better look at that underdrive crank hub and cantilever damper that we told you about earlier.
Well, the bottom end is bristling with even more new technology. For instance, these powdered metal rods use a cracked cap design. Now, this minimizes machining and ensures perfect rod cap alignment during engine assembly. Now, it's all held together with these high tensile strength cap screws. By the way, the rods themselves have grown to over 6 inches. This allows for internal balancing and also frees up a few extra ponies. Now, the piston's flat top design improves flame travel and yields a 10-to-1 compression ratio. By the way, you guys will be glad to know this. Short skirts are back in style even for pistons. This minimizes mass and increases strength.
One of the strengths of current engine design is the use of hydraulic roller camshafts. Now, the Vortec goes one better with this rifle-drilled core that reduces both weight and rotating inertia. Of course, hiding a camshaft in the block is anything but high-tech. After all, you still need push rods to activate the valves. But the rest of the valve train is state-of-the-art, using these investment cast stainless steel rockers. They incorporate a rollerized trunnion and a computer-designed body for maximum strength and minimum weight. Now that's going to mean more reliability at high RPMs. The 1.7 rocker ratio increases potential valve lift, and of course, keeping the valves on the seat are these ovate wire beehive wound valve springs.
Of course, a killer valve train belongs on a killer set of heads, and the symmetrical Vortec ports are like nothing you've seen on a small block before. The tall inlet port design allows for better injector targeting on the back side of the inlet valve, and that means more efficient combustion. Now, over here, the raised short side of the exhaust port improves flow for even more power. The combustion chamber features an unshrouded inlet and takes advantage of a swirl vane in the port to enhance the fast-burning characteristics. In fact, the Vortec works best with only 28 degrees of ignition timing. These small stem valves measure 2 inches on the intake, 155 on the exhaust. The combustion chambers are sealed with a high-performance 3-angle valve job right from the factory. ASA short tracks are torture tests for V8s, twisting 8,000 RPMs lap after lap. The Vortec obsoletes the carbureted stock car with GM's race version of the fuel injection they put in passenger cars.
Of course, that's where both these composite intakes come from as well. Now, in case you're wondering, this is a truck intake, and, well, it may be ugly, but trust me, it's worth a few more horsepower. But the race cars are going to get this low-profile passenger car version that weighs less than 10 pounds. Now, the composite material is going to help isolate heat transfer to the incoming fuel charge, and this smooth finish on the intake port is going to maximize airflow, and as we all know, that means more horsepower.
Harnessing all that horsepower is the job of the ASA spec engine computer. Now it controls functions like timing, fuel delivery, and even maximum revs during all sorts of racing conditions. Now all the racing teams have a mule computer for testing, but right before each event, to prevent cheating, ASA issues a seal computer, and it stays right here for the whole race.
Now, we don't want to cheat you either. We'll be back with a look at even more high-performance hardware right after this.
How much rear-wheel horsepower will this high-tech racer make? We'll find out on our chassis dyno, and later take you to the track to discover what it's like to pilot a pro-stock car.
For the latest news on Horsepower TV, check us out online at horsepowertv.com.
Hey, welcome back to the shop. While you were gone, Joe put the Monte Carlo in the air to give you a look at a race car from an angle that most of you have probably never seen.
Well, for starters, this Monte Carlo uses a Winner's Performance quick change rear end. This Panhard bar maintains its lateral location, and it's also held in place with a fully adjustable 3-link suspension with arms on each side of the frame rails and a third one up here on top. The shocks are Penske coilovers with remote nitrogen-filled reservoirs.
Here's that engine oil reservoir I told you about earlier. Now, it's mounted behind the driver's seat for better weight distribution, and the drive shaft, well, it uses aluminum matrix technology. Very strong and very light. Further forward, we've got an aluminum-cased Richmond 4-speed transmission with a magnesium tail shaft housing from Tex Racing. Now, I want you to check out the small diameter of this bell housing, because inside you're going to find a multi-disc small diameter clutch assembly that allows the engine to be mounted really low in the chassis.
Now, the front suspension's a pretty basic setup with, again, Penske coilovers, upper and lower control arms, and control arm struts that attach to the frame. It's got these monstrous AP Racing brakes on all 4 corners, and the steering's handled with a power-assisted rack.
Here's something I bet you thought you'd never see on a race car, a mufflered exhaust. Now, you'll notice how it's routed to keep the heat and noise away from the driver. And this silver reflective material, well, it's there for driver comfort as well.
Well, I say we wrap up this tour now and make some horsepower on the dyno jet. Man, that was a strong run, and guess what? You made over 368 horsepower at the rear wheel.
Man, that's stout. But you know, sitting here in a real race car's kind of got me curious what it's really like to go fast and turn left.
Yeah, me too. And hey, guess what? I just happen to know a place where almost anyone can be a stock car hero, at least for a day. He's been justly crowned the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty, a legend who from 1960 to 84 won 7 NASCAR championships. When Petty quit racing, he not only left an amazing legacy, he also created a way to put you behind the wheel. "900 days a year at 10 Winston Cup tracks across the country, racing fans can live out their favorite fantasy through the Richard Petty driving experience. It's a hands-on, heart-pounding, high-speed adventure available in 6 different levels from ride-along to advanced, with actual side-by-side driving. Here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, I opted for the 8-lap rookie experience, where I'll follow an instructor's car at well over 100 miles an hour. And the car, with few exceptions, is the real Winston Cup deal.
Basically, it's got a few modifications. We build the motor to be a little bit less horsepower. It's 600 horsepower versus a 750 Winston Cup motor. We need longevity out of the motors. They need to run 500,000 miles, not 500 miles. It is a fiberglass body. It's much cheaper to do a fiberglass body than a steel body. They last longer, they're easier to keep up. And we do put 2 seats in the cars because we do give rides.
After a brief introductory session, each group's instructor goes over the car's features. By the way, if you don't know how to drive a manual 4-speed, better ride shotgun. Then we get the feel of the track from the back seat of a van.
What we want you to do, right off the bat, just come right on up close. If you're too close, he'll give you a little wave. Back up about 1 car length. Don't get on the brakes. Don't get off the gas. And again, you won't use any brake. Your first sensation, the first few laps, you're gonna wanna slow down when you start into the turn. You're gonna say, man, this thing ain't gonna go around this corner. But it will.
If the flagman is doing this to you, you know, that means you gotta get closer, okay?
Then before you know it, it's time. Time for the adrenaline rush of a lifetime. Time to play stock car hero, if only for 8 white-knuckle laps.
Can't believe I waited until I was 50 to do this.
Well, I think it's about my turn, and you might be wondering, hey, Joe, are you nervous? In 3 words, are you kidding? I'll see you at the starting line right after this. And later in the show, a wheel deal as we show you a Camaro's multiple personalities with a change of wheels and tires. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Horsepower TV and Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, ready or not, it's time to experience the experience. Now, before jumping in the car, every driver gets a last-minute briefing.
Now, you remember all that?
Yes.
Can you quote it word for word back to me?
No. I'm ready.
That's what I want to hear. Just what I want to hear.
It's already an experience. They told me to stay close to the instructor's car, and I was determined to. Whoops, maybe a little too close on that bank. But after a couple of laps, you're at one with the wheel. The car almost drives itself. You're traveling almost full tilt in the same tire tracks of NASCAR's top stars. My top speed, 143. Not bad, but all too soon, the 8 laps are over and it's time to coast back to reality. It's an experience, and it's an experience you gotta try. You won't believe it. Woo! And I think my fellow racers would agree.
Unbelievable. You just can't describe it. Words can't describe it. It's wonderful. Very exhilarating.
Just like that guy said a while ago, it'll be the most fun you'll ever have with your clothes on.
I think you have a lot more respect for the drivers that do it on a professional basis, day after day, because when you get out there, I can't imagine being around anybody else out there. Can you imagine being around?
No. Odds are none of us will go on to the pro ranks, but it's a safe bet nobody will forget fulfilling this longtime fantasy. The dream of driving in the fast lane of our circle track horsepower heroes. Now, if I can just get this smile off my face, I'll meet you and Chuck back at the shop right after this.
For more horsepower, join us online at horsepowertv.com.
Hi, welcome back. You know, when it comes to making horsepower, too much is still never enough. I mean, we all want to brag about having 1,000 horses under the hood, but you know what? If you can't plant that power to the pavement, man, you're just blowing smoke. Tire smoke, that is.
Yeah, you know, tire technology has come a long way since the heyday of the muscle car like this 70 Z28. Now, back then, an 8-inch wide F60 was considered state-of-the-art with its hard-as-a-rock rubber compound and its bias-ply construction, plus a 15-inch rim was about as good as it got.
Right now, we're going to show you how tire technology has evolved over the years, and not surprisingly, a lot of it's a result of what we learned at the track. Now, this is an IndyCar rain tire. As you'll notice, the tread's designed to channel water efficiently to the outside edges and, of course, prevent aquaplaning.
Now, something else you'll notice about this tire is the aspect ratio, which is the relationship between the sidewall and the tread width. Now, this tread width measures about 14.5 inches across, and the sidewall is about 6 inches tall to give us an aspect ratio of about 40%. Now, with a shorter aspect ratio, you're going to get a stiffer sidewall, less flex, and more precise handling.
Now, here's what we mean by technology transfer. This is a Firestone SC50. Notice how its tread design borrows heavily from the race tire, although for street applications, the shoulders here have been rounded. Now, you'll notice over here that it has different sized blocks. These help eliminate tread rumble, give you a quieter ride.
Another cue lifted directly from the race tire is the shortened sidewall. Now, this one also has a 40 aspect ratio, which is the second number listed in the tire sizing guide on each tire. Now, this one is a 285/40 ZR17, which means it has 285 millimeters of tread width, a 40 aspect ratio. Z is the speed rating. R stands for radial construction, and of course 17, well, that's the rim diameter.
We're going to see what a simple swap of tires and rims does for the appearance and attitude of this Z28. In fact, we'll see what it looks like with +1, +2, and +3 combinations we got from our friends at the Tire Rack. Right now, it's wearing the original 15x7 steel spoke rims with a set of 245/60 radials.
First is a 16x7 Borbit wheel with 225/55 ZR16 rubber.
Next, a 17-inch rim mounting 255/285/40 rubber. The shorter sidewall's aggressive appearance is matched by better handling.
Finally, the 18-inch hoops with 245/40 and 275/35 tires. A serious fashion statement, and you'll be able to cut corners with the best of them.
So there you have it, one sure way to get better handling and obviously better looks.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds, but don't you go away. We'll be right back with Hot Parts.
You ever think about retiring?
And now Hot Parts, brought to you by CarParts.com. Everything for your car, truck, van, or SUV.
Since we're into racing today, well, here's a great way to protect your cranial cavity. Simpson offers a wide variety of helmets in both open and closed configurations, plus they all meet the latest safety specs. Now, with prices starting at under $200, gotta tell you, it's a terrific way to use your head and keep it safe at the same time.
Now, if you're the kind that just has to have one belt for the road, this is one you ought to have. It's a 5-point belt and harness from RJS Racing Equipment, available with either row bar or floor mounts. Now, they all have quick releases. They come in a variety of colors, and the only green you'll need is about $60 for a set.
Well, here's something for you racing fans from Racing Radios. This handy backpack features a detachable seat cushion, and on the inside, well, we've got a unit and scanner that monitors over 100 channels. Plus, to make listening to the pit side action even easier, they include this high-quality headset.
Now, if you get the whole package, you also get a free membership in the FanScan Frequency Club that'll keep you up to date on all the latest race team frequencies. So you can stay in tune for about $300. And don't forget to tune into this next week. We'll kick off a retro street rod project, first at the body and chassis shop, then in our shop, as we start a build-up on a cool 3-window 32 coupe. From suspension and brakes to dumbing up the engine and trans. We'll also take you to one of the nation's premier rod runs, Shades of the Past in the Smoky Mountains, featuring thousands of the finest 49 and older street rods. And remember, high-performance fun is what this show is all about. Hey man, what track you tuned into there, Rockingham?
That's right, I'm rocking Roxanne! You don't have to run the red light!
For information about the products used in today's show and more, check us out online at horsepowertv.com. Horsepower TV is an RTM production.